Welcome to the Bold Leadership Story Show, where we talk about experiences shaping exceptional lives. And today I've got a wonderful guest from the Temecula Valley named James Stew Stewart. And James, you like James or Stu?
Stew is better.
Stu's better? Okay. So Stu and his family moved to Temecula Valley in 1991, and they had three children. They came from Oswego, Illinois. And Stu, if you've lived in Temecula at any time at all, you know about Stu's barbershop. He's got how many now? Seven, I heard.
Well, I opened a total of nine.
Okay.
But as soon as I get up to five, I usually give two away. And literally the beginning of last year, I semi-retired and I only have one now. So I
Wow.
got rid
Okay.
of all of them except for just one.
Life's good.
Yes.
So you opened your barber shops, and you've been very active in the local community, in the Sunridge Community Church, and been active on mission trips. And your wife Lisa has been traveling all over the place. It looks like, according to this bio, she'd done over 40 mission trips, which is incredible.
Yeah.
Raising money for water filtration systems in Nepal, over $2,000, which is admirable. And helping the homeless in that homeless outreach, Project Touch, and helping mentor in the community. You've served on the board of directors for the Rancho California Water District, and you've been active in the community. I see you on Facebook a lot. You're always putting every day. I see your posts are incredible because they're always like funny. I always put funny. It's just like really good humor. And then you've also got the perspective part of it, where you're putting in posts about Temecula history and giving everybody a chance to kind of see where they live and what benefits we've got here and how wonderful it is, the history that we've got and the legacy that we're building here for future generations. And I think that's really, really great. And then you've been a mayor here for a bit. And then I love in this bio, it talks about your primary goals as a council member. What you'd said, you'd lead with common sense, foster transparency, and keep the public informed about the city's activities and issues. And as this is a video log about leadership, that's a really, really impactful statement that you made. And I'm curious to see, as we move into our conversation, how you were able to actually deliver on that, and what your impressions were. So, did I miss anything? Any highlights?
Nope.
Okay, great. So, Stu, you've been in the Temecula Valley here for a long time.
32 years.
32 years. So you've seen a lot of changes.
I have.
And you're still smiling.
Yeah, I still love the place. I still love everything about Temecula. It's, despite it being 4 times as large, almost 5 times as large as it was when I got here, it still feels like a small town to me. I mean, I still run into people I've known for 30 some years, and it's just like it's a friendly, well developed town. So what's not to love?
Exactly. Well, it's in no small part to people like yourself who've lived here and have that vision. That just knowing you as I do, mostly from Facebook, is, you've got that purpose aspect, and then that perspective, and then the fun. You're always putting some fun in there too, which I love. So it's and people like you I've met as I've lived here for a couple of decades myself and raised our kids here, and I've benefited from the leadership here, and I really appreciate it. So, what do you see as the vision for the entrepreneur here in town? And what's the future look like for small businesses, in your opinion?
That's a good question because I think the service industry seems to have the best chance of surviving the Amazons of the world, because you can't order a haircut from Amazon, or you know, you can order groceries now through Amazon. So
Yep.
there's a lot of businesses that I think have been sidelined and or made irrelevant because of the big online shop places. So
Mhm.
um, that the city of Temecula, we have a very large industrial park area where we have a lot of innovative businesses. Which, believe it or not, we have a lot of um, medical tech here in
Mhm.
Temecula,
Mhm.
and we have even some internet tech that actually is here in Temecula. But it seems like we have a lot of like manufacturers. When I say manufacturers, they're almost uh, fabricators that are
Okay.
here. So they're very small shops who are doing a specific job for the defense industry or
Right.
uh,
A lot of custom
medical
stuff.
services. Yeah, a lot of custom stuff. So our industrial park is absolutely booming and busting at the seams, and people are always contacting the city trying to look for property in the industrial area um, to bring their business here. So we try to facilitate that as much as we possibly can,
Mhm.
which is getting harder because there's less and less available every year. So, um, but as far as a small business, it's very difficult in this day and age to survive. I mean, I honestly don't know how. I mean, for instance, barbershops. When I came here in 1991, there was, I think, 4 barbershops in Temecula, and
Mhm.
I was the first barbershop in Marietta. And so it
Yeah, and
was
if you've lived in Temecula and you haven't been to a Stew's barbershop, in my opinion, you're not a Temeculaite yet.
right, exactly. You got to go at least once, if nothing else, just to see the shop because
Yeah,
they're all so unique. It's just
it's
like
really
crazy.
cool. You got all kinds of
Yeah,
fun things in there.
yeah. So it's kind of like walking into a museum or an antique store. I've
Mhm.
had people walk in thinking it's an antique store, and
Oh, bonus, I
uh,
get a haircut too.
right, exactly. So, or well, especially my Rancho store, we have because we're right on the wine country, road. Basically, everybody's
Yeah,
going to wine country.
yeah.
We get a lot of tourists, and so we'll get tourists in who are coming to a wedding. They flew in from Tennessee or wherever, and they'll stop by my shop to get a haircut.
Mhm.
And I don't know whether it's just Google or what, but we seem to do a fair amount of tourists and people who are just in for a wedding or whatever. But yeah, it seems like competition is very heavy out there for a lot of small businesses, and um,
Yeah, you got to
but
stay on your toes, right?
you do.
I mean, but that's been happening forever. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah,
nothing
for
new.
sure.
I
No,
remember, one example is when Blockbuster Video came in to town, and there was probably 50 little video shops all over the
right.
place, and then Blockbuster comes in and closes them all, and then Walmart, and then
Yep.
Sam's Club, and we just it's just been a constant barrage to the small business,
Yeah.
and they've been resilient, and they've had to
Hmm.
kind of innovate, and that's never going to change.
Right. It seems like
So
restaurants seem to do the best in Temecula. Everybody loves to eat out in Temecula. So,
it's a
um,
great experience.
yeah.
And
And
I
so,
love what what the leadership was able to do during COVID. Um,
yeah,
we stayed open. Everybody was still open. They figured out a way to do it, and they were,
yeah.
they kind of bucked the tide a little bit, just enough
Mhm.
to keep things going and keep
Yep.
everybody solvent and working, and people out and about doing their life. So
Yep. Yep.
kudos on that.
Yep.
So
So,
your leadership yeah, I see you as a bold leader.
right?
So what in your opinion would you say you've stepped up and been bold about in your leadership? And what were what were some of the fruit from that?
Well, I've lived in this town for 32 years, and so something that always bugged me was the lack of information that came from City Hall. It was like you had to look for it to find out what was happening in town, or you
Mhm.
heard through the rumor mill what was going to happen through town. And
Mhm.
quite often the rumor mill was not correct or had some sort of skewed viewpoint.
Right.
And so that was something that I was very adamant about, was making sure the citizens of Temecula through social media. I mean, basically, I'm a social media
Yeah,
hound,
you're
as
good
you
at it.
know.
You're
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you're there, man. That's really cool.
Yes. Yeah. So
Like my
I
hero.
yeah. So I have 3 pages. One is Temecula Stew, which is basically my city page, which anything that happens in the city or is going to happen at City Hall that, we need impact, uh, comments from the public or something, I make sure it's on Temecula Stew. And then I have my history page, which is Temecula Fun Facts. And that was really just out of the pandemic.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
was,
share this. I'm gonna share Temecula stew for everybody
yeah,
to see it.
yeah. So that's my city page where pretty much everything on it is about the city. And then the Temecula Fun Facts is the history page. So that's the one that was born out of uh, COVID. I was, everybody was stuck at home doing nothing. And I thought, what a perfect time to give people, a place to go. So the whole idea behind the Fun Facts was to give them a location and have them get out of their house and go check out this location.
Is that it?
And no, no, it should be Temecula Stew. There, that's it right there.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Um, so it was more creating a kind of like a scavenger hunt for the citizens
Mhm.
to get out of their house, go check out the Adobe down at the Vail Ranch headquarters, or go to
Uh-huh.
uh, the original Gonzalez house that's at the Adobe Plaza. Both places are from the mid to late 1800s, and give them fun facts about Old Town, so they go down to Old Town and try to figure out where this particular building is or this particular house is. And so they knew exactly what they were looking at. So that was really more of a COVID moment that just kind of continued on. And there's over 5,000 people on following me on that page alone.
Yeah,
And
6,500.
yeah,
That's
and
that's
yeah,
um
that's
really good.
that's my Temecula Stew page.
Okay.
My fun facts page is a little over 5,000.
So
And
which one
so
is that?
if you go to Temecula Valley Fun Facts, that's it right there at the top, I believe. People, places, and things. Yeah, that's it. There I am.
That's cool. I
Right,
love the minions. They're so cool.
right, and that's at City Hall. That's actually in the city council office area. So, and actually, that minion is created by a business here in town
Okay.
that makes props for
Oh, so
Hollywood.
that's a little statue you took a picture
It's a
next to.
it's a little statue, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And they made all the minions for Disney through
Here in Temecula?
yeah, here in Temecula.
Oh, wow, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, there's actually a reality show called Car Masters about
Uh-huh.
Gotham Garage, which is here in Temecula.
Okay.
And I highly recommend it. If anybody's on Netflix, just key up Car Masters. It's an addicting show. These guys are absolute creative geniuses when it comes to cars. But what's really cool, it's filmed in Temecula. So they're taking camera crews over to Hank's Hardware, they're picking up a part. They're going through Old Town, testing out, that's it right there, testing out the particular car that they just, uh, redid. And
Refurbished, yeah.
yeah, and then they do flyovers with a drone of City Hall and, the Marietta Creek, and it's just a crazy cool show.
Awesome.
Um, but
Wow, that's fantastic.
it's very Temecula. So that to me was a really good find on. There's Four Seasons, and they do some absolutely amazing cars. So,
Oh, that's
and
so
in
much
fact,
fun. I'm gonna
yeah,
check that out.
yeah. In fact, as you're watching it, there's people from Temecula, like BJ Fazzelli, who's one of their customers, who
Okay.
owns Fazzelli's Winery, and there's a couple
Yeah.
other
I
winery
met him a couple
owners.
of times. Really nice
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
Super.
So yeah, you actually see the people who live here on this show. So it's really kind of cool.
Awesome. So
Yeah,
that was from the Fun Facts, People,
yeah.
Places, and Things, and then that's where I see, you've
That's the
got
history
these
page.
amazing
Yep,
history set
yep,
lessons there for us to,
yep.
you know.
I had
Um,
one mother tell me that she actually does history. She homeschools, and she
uh-huh.
uses my page for history lessons.
Oh, well, hey, that's
Right?
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun, and people have learned so much from this. I've
Mhm.
learned so much. So
Right?
even when I'm doing it, I'm learning. As I'm pulling these off the Temecula Historical Society page, or
Yeah.
there's another guy, Dale Garcia, who does Old Town walking tours. He has a
Oh, yeah, I
Facebook
know
page.
Dale. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll pull off of his page too, um, and I think I'm just more visible. That's why people see these things more, and
Mhm.
so more people are following me, and so it's just I make it super easy to get a hold of all this stuff, and
So that's
that's
part of your leadership style.
that's
That's your secret sauce, is just
100%.
to be out
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very powerful and effective, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So in fact,
And you enjoy it. It's like
I do.
you eat it up. You
Yeah, I do.
so it's fun.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
that's
even when I ran for city council, I literally ran in 2016, and it was an entire city election, so the entire city got to vote, and I spent $800, and pretty much everybody else was spending 15, 20, $30,000 to run for this seat,
hmm,
and but I was using social media. I was using what people knew about me already, and
okay.
capitalizing on it and pushing it out there. So I didn't spend a dime in 2020. Literally, I ran for reelection, spent absolutely nothing, and I beat my next competitor by 25%. And he was out there. He had every endorsement from the sheriff's department to the county supervisor to, half the city council, if not the whole. And I beat him by 25%. So,
Yes.
right?
Well, you
Yeah.
got my vote too. I
Yeah.
just like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's in the future for you? What do you see down the road? You say you're semi-retired, or you still have
Yeah.
interest in getting him, just because you're still very active on Facebook.
Yeah.
So
Well,
you still have that, um, that the momentum happening, I think.
yeah. Well, I mean, as far as politics are concerned, I'm not super interested in anything past city council,
Mhm.
and I'll probably do one more term. That's what I'm kind of looking at because I got 2 more years left on this term, and so um, I definitely would like to do one more after that, and then as
What do you
far
like
as
about being on the city council?
you know what, it's instant gratification. You
That's
actually
always nice.
Right? You can
That's hard to
actually
get these days.
someone can call me up and say, "Stu, there's a massive something on my street. Can you get it fixed?" And I just make a phone call to Public Works, and they'll go out and fix it. And it's stuff like that where you really feel like you're doing something for the citizens. Whereas
Mhm.
once you get into the higher level, you're dealing with a whole bureaucracy that doesn't necessarily match up with uh, your ability to do anything.
Yeah.
And so, and that's what I've heard all the people who went on to the state level assembly and the state senate is you're a small fish in a big pond.
Mm.
And, if you're not part of the majority, you really are just there passing time. So
Yeah.
that just doesn't interest me a whole lot. There's part of me would like to actually see what that looks like at Sacramento, but then there's other part of me. I'm getting old. I mean, I'm 62, not old, but I'm at that point where I'm kind of ready to kind of chill a little bit and not be so crazy busy all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
get it. I just turned
yeah,
65 myself, so
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
you get to a point where it's like, eh.
yeah. Well, you know what? And you work hard your whole life. You build up this ability to relax and enjoy your life and take vacations and see the country, see the world. I mean, I've been around the world 3 or 4 times already, but
Yep.
there's still places I'd love to see. And
Sure.
so, do I want to tie that up with another full-time job? No. So that's
Right.
that's kind of like where I'm at right now.
Oh, too, the perspective of your experience and yeah, the fact that you have been in town for decades and contributed not only for, with a business, with jobs and keeping several families solvent, I'm
Yeah.
sure doing it during that time and all the responsibilities of having a business, multiple businesses, and then traveling with the church and being involved with volunteering and then volunteering, pretty much volunteering your time, I'm thinking in politics,
Yeah.
um, that you've built up a perspective that's very valuable
Hmm.
and that, you could, if people would listen, you maintain the relationships, you can still be a tremendous influence in
Sure.
a very positive way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really happy that you're taking a really nice approach to it, I think.
Hmm.
So
Well, you know what? I come from the perspective I don't need to do it, but I want to do it.
yeah,
And
right.
it seems like there's a group of people who get into politics for a specific um, climbing the ladder, getting to the next level, whatever, whatever. And for me personally, that's never been a motivating factor because um, I'm perfectly happy where I'm at. I'm complete as Stew the barber.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be Stew the city councilman, but I wanted to be. I wanted to give back to our city and try to maintain the Temecula bubble, as I like to call it, because
Mhm.
it
Yeah,
feels like,
right.
yeah, it
Yeah.
feels like we're a city that belongs
That's
in a different state.
there's something to that because
Right.
yeah.
And so that's always been my goal is to try to maintain that bubble to for the next generation. Now my kids live here in Temecula, and my
Okay.
grandkids live in Temecula, and I got
That's beautiful.
kids and grandkids over in Marietta. So all of my family is really really close, and I consider Marietta part of the Temecula bubble too. So
Sure.
it's like so to me, it's just super important to be able to keep this city beautiful, keep it um, as controversially free as possible,
Hmm.
and just so people can be proud to say this is their home.
Yeah, it's like the ideal place to raise a family and
Yeah.
you have a business and you've got access internationally through the internet
Yep.
and you don't have to travel. When I moved here, most of the people that I knew that were working here were commuting. They were going to Santa Ana or down to San Diego or into Riverside every
Hmm.
day,
Yep.
traveling 2 to sometimes 3 hours each way to get
Yep.
to work. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, or they were pilots or they were firemen or
Hmm.
some jobs like me. I did sales, so I was traveling all the time. So I just go to the airport and I'd be gone for 3 or 4 days at a time,
Yeah.
and that was great. And I'd come back and everything was, I didn't have to worry about it
Mm-hmm.
when I was living here. So it was, like you said, it's in this bubble and
Yep.
everything's nice here. And then
Yep.
going to Europe, traveling to China,
Mm-hmm.
I'd run into, like, I saw Callaway wine in China,
Mm-hmm.
and people that I'd meet in, like, in London, they say, where are you from? And I'd say, well, I'm from San Diego area. And they'd go, oh, okay. And then he'd go, where? And Temecula. Oh yeah, I know. I got
Right.
somebody, either a
Yep.
relative or somebody, a friend, somebody lives in Temecula or knows,
Yep.
that. So it's uncanny how many
Yep.
people know of Temecula. And
Yes.
that's a
Well,
testament to leaders like you, I think, to have that. And that's
when
our
I
legacy. That's the legacy
yeah,
for our kids.
absolutely. And when I first moved here, the bumper sticker that was pretty common, it said, "Where the hell is Temecula?" And it was a very popular bumper sticker because that was the term. Everybody would say, "We're from Temecula," and everybody would say, "Where?" And so in the last 30 years, we've come a long way as far as we are literally on the world stage when it comes to the wineries and
Yeah.
Pachanga definitely amps it up with, all the concerts and the things that they bring into our community. And then
Yeah,
you
boy,
got,
that's changed a lot.
yeah,
When
oh,
I first moved here, they were in a little tent.
I know. Actually, I'll tell you a quick story. I lived right next to Pachanga for 17 years. So, and when my realtor took me up Via Eduardo, which is the street that borders the dirt lot that became the casino,
Uh-huh.
she said, "Look to the left. See all that open space? That's Indian reservation. It'll never be built on." And it was like 18 months later, here comes the tent, and so which, we lived there for 17 years and we loved it. We didn't have any problem with the casino.
Yeah.
They used to have 3.95 uh, buffets over there, so it
Right.
was cheaper eating there than it was going to McDonald's across the way.
Right.
So we loved it. So
Yeah, I've always enjoyed going to Pachanga. It's my
yeah,
daughter worked there for a while, and it's just been a great addition to the family. And the golf course they put in is just really, really nice. Um, they've done a first class job of building that property up.
yeah, and they've been very good with the city too. They have contributed a lot of money for infrastructure. Pechanga Parkway, obviously, they benefit from it, but so do we.
Mhm.
And then the freeway exit that was done, the loop, they contributed $15 million to that. And so yeah, they've been a good partner, even though technically they don't have to give us anything. They do out of respect for our city, and they've always been a very good partner for the city of Temecula.
Excellent. Yeah, and it
Yeah,
shows that everything's adding in a positive direction.
yeah.
So, Stu, where do you see yourself headed now? What's your leadership role? You said you're going to be doing maybe some city council work. Your business is kind of winding down. What maybe I should ask you, what do you see for the entrepreneur? Where would you put your emphasis if you were in your mid 30s and you're starting a company and you wanted to build it here in Temecula? What advice would you give them?
Um, be very well funded. It seems like I've seen a lot of businesses go into business underfunded, and they can't survive that first year,
Hmm.
and it becomes and it's not necessarily they had a bad idea, or it was uh, you know it came right down to it. They didn't have enough cash in the bank to give it a fair shot.
Mm-hmm.
And that really is, when it comes to business, capitalization is everything. And you look at the Googles and the Facebooks and the even Amazon. these companies lost money for decades before they started making money.
Yeah, they did.
And yeah, but they had venture capitalists behind them,
Right.
feeding them until they hit that critical mass, and then it just blows up. So, and that's what I think a lot of small businesses, especially, and I tell people all the time who come to me, you know, and then they just happen to talk about they're going to start a business, and I say, hey, let's sit down and chat because a lot of times they have basically pie in the sky ideals of how this is going to go,
Right.
and the reality check is what they really need to hear. Now, I understand a lot of people, they have their dream, and this is their dream job, business, whatever they're going to create, and they're convinced 100%, 1,000% this is going to be successful. This is exactly what the city needs. Hard to talk someone out of their dream.
Sure.
But the only thing you can do is give them the reality of what they're going to need to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't make money right away when you open a business, even in a service business like mine. You're gonna work a long time to pay that rent, and it takes a while before all of a sudden you're making a profit again. Um, so yeah, to me, it's not so much what kind of business you want to open. Just make sure when you open it that you've got pretty deep pockets to maintain it long enough to give it a shot to survive.
Excellent advice. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I think our time's about up. It's
Okay.
it's gone really quick. Thank you for joining me on the show. And
Sure.
any last parting shots?
No, I'm just happy to be in Temecula. I love this town, and it's I love being on city council. It really is a satisfying experience to be able to help people and help the city to maintain what we have and make it even better if we can.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And
Yeah.
great having you on the show today.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.